So let's get started. On April 8th of 2020, UNO students voted for new student leaders. Elected as student president and UNO student regent was Jabin Moore. Elected as vice president was Vanessa Chavez Jurado. We'd hoped to have Vanessa with us today, but recent travels prevented her from joining us. But I'd still like to tell you a bit about her before we talk with Jabin. Vanessa is a proud first-generation college student and a Goodrich Scholar. She first became involved with student government as a member of the Freshman Leadership Council. And last year she served as senator representing the College of Education. And as I mentioned, this year she'll serve as student vice president along with Jabin. Vanessa, we wish you well in your role. Jabin, what do you say we start having some questions?
All right.
I thank you so much for coming in here on a busy summer afternoon to help introduce you to our alumni who are out there and are very eager to hear about you and your background.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Well, let's start out with a typical first question. You're a native Omahan.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience growing up and why you chose UNO and what you're majoring in.
Yeah, so I graduated from Omaha North. I come from a lineage of Omaha North grads, so we all bleed blue and gold. After graduating from there, I really wanted to stay close to home, and I really value the Omaha community. And so, especially being a first-generation college student, I wanted to make sure that I had a stable foundation and still had the connections to be able to be successful in college. And so I chose UNO. I got the Buffett Scholarship, and so I had the opportunity to go to UNO, UNL, or UNK. And I liked the diversity of UNO, and so I decided to stay here, and it's been great. I major in business with a concentration in entrepreneurship. And what's
that's quite a background. It's first generation college student.
Yes.
And a scholar. That's terrific. Congratulations on both of those. So you've been at UNO for how many years now?
I'm going on my fourth year.
Your fourth year at UNO. That means you've taken many semesters of courses.
Mm-hmm.
Do any jump out at you as being your favorite so far, or some that you really remember?
So I really like writing, and so I think my English courses have been my favorite. English Comp 1 is one of my all-time favorites just because of the concepts that we covered in that class, and the teacher was pretty great as well. And I've always just liked writing and liked literature, and so Autobio is another class that I really liked, which was a TLC class, the Thompson Learning Community.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Sounds like you like to write.
Definitely.
How do you plan on using that writing with an entrepreneurship degree in business? Do you have given yourself any thought about what you want to do when you graduate with that degree and with those favorite classes?
Yeah, so my journey has kind of like shifted a little bit. So I originally came to UNO because I wanted to, I was dual enrolled at Metro in their culinary program, and so like that's always been like the goal for me to go to culinary school and get my entrepreneur degree to own a restaurant one day, which is still like a goal in the distant future. But since being involved with UNO, getting involved in leadership and things like that, I've really been passionate about community and uplifting the community. And so any way that I can utilize, I'm not sure of how I would utilize the literature thing with that, but as I grow, like, and opportunities come available, like I wrote a guest article for the Gateway about supporting Black businesses, which is something that I did in June. And so just finding opportunities like that and seeing how I can be involved.
Well, I hope you find a way to make that all blend together.
Yeah.
And you're a chef. Do you enjoy cooking since you went to culinary?
Definitely. So I'm halfway through my program there.
Okay.
And it's really been a dream all of my life, and now it's just kind of like seeing where else life can take me before I kind of just like focus in on that one thing. So, but yeah, I love cooking.
You're probably not going to have a whole lot of extra time this year as you're serving as student body
Yeah,
president.
probably not this year, but yeah.
Well, what a background. You're well suited for this role. So let's kind of pivot to student government a little bit. Mm-hmm. How long have you been involved in student government, and what have your roles been there?
Yeah, so similar to Vanessa, I got involved with student government my freshman year through the Freshman Leadership Council, which I was just looking to grow my leadership and be involved in any way that I could on campus. That was just like my main goal with coming to UNO, is that I don't want to be just the student that goes to class and goes home. I want to be involved, and I want to make sure that I build that college experience that I desire to have. So I searched across campus to see like what things that I can be involved in. I went to the student involvement fair, and I met a few people. And yeah, I got introduced to the Freshman Leadership Council, and that's where I met Aya Yusuf, which was the former student body president. We actually knew each other. We actually knew each other before that, but we were reintroduced to each other through that program, and we both continued in student government. She became a senator. I became the external relations liaison on the executive board. And the following year, she asked me to run with her, and so I became her vice president. And then, so this year it just kind of like lined up, and I decided to just go for the next position and see if, if it aligned with my, without getting too deep, with like my purpose and everything.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, I just kind of went for it and asked Vanessa to run with me, and here we are.
Well, congratulations. I mean, that's a busy commitment. I've watched student government representatives over the years, and it takes a lot of time. So you knew what you were signing up for.
Definitely,
because you watched Aya, and certainly we enjoyed working with Aya as an Alumni Association. Some folks out there may not know that the president of our students, in your role, the student region, also serves as a member of the UNO Alumni Association Board of Directors. So every year we have a student voice at our table as we're planning our programming and activities for the Alumni Association. So we're very glad to have students with us, and we're just delighted to have you as part of our leadership team this year. So congratulations on being elected, but
thank you.
Some people may not quite understand how a student election works, especially during a pandemic. Mm-hmm. So would you take some time and tell us maybe how a normal student election occurs in a normal year, and then if it was different this year, or what played out?
It was definitely totally different this year. Normally we would be going across campus, talking to students, tabling, going to classes and speaking to students, just in the campaigning process. We always have like an online presence, but we're not really focused on that before this year. But this year it was completely all online, so we just had to figure out a different way of doing things. So where we would be talking to classes, and speaking directly to students, we just drafted emails, and we had packets explaining our campaign, and just like outlining all of our goals and our vision for this year. And we just sent it to professors, we sent it to student organization leaders, and then on some occasions we would just log into a Zoom to present to a student organization. But really that's the whole process of campaigning. It's just speaking to as many people as we can. We would also like make flyers to hang across campus and hang our banner as well, and then like pass out snacks or wristbands and things like that. So obviously we couldn't do that this year. So we just focused all of our attention on social media. And so I think it was great because it kind of connected us more, and we've gotten so much more engagement on social media within student government. So it seems like people are more aware of student government and more aware of what we're doing and our goals. And so I think it's a weird situation, but it turned out to be something good because it kind of connected us on a different level. So,
how did you find out you won?
The election day happened. So on election day, you stop campaigning and the polls are open, and so you just kind of wait. And then so the following day, I woke up and I had an email in my inbox and said, "Congratulations, you have won the election." And so it was like a lot of anxiety with, going to sleep.
Could you
that.
sleep is the question.
Yeah, it was really hard. So I think I it might have been like after 5 a.m. when I actually went to sleep. And then I may have slept like an hour and then woke up and got that email. And yeah, it was awesome. So,
well, again, congratulations. It's interesting to learn about the process.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to navigate it in a normal election year, and you throw all this on top of it. You had your work cut out for you.
Yes.
It sure sounds
definitely.
like it. I'm going to jump back. We just had somebody text in about your background again, and so we're trying to be responsive to that. So I'm checking my phone at all times. They were intrigued by getting into cooking.
Oh yeah.
So did you have a mentor that got you into cooking, or how did you get into cooking?
It's literally been like all of my life of just liking to be in the kitchen and being in the kitchen with my grandma. So I always say like my grandma was like my mentor with,
Good job,
inviting. Yeah. She would always invite me in and say, "Hey, mix this," or, cut this up. And so I always liked doing that. And then actually my freshman year of high school, there was a craft fair at North, and my teacher, it was ran by the art teachers, and my art teacher knew that I baked. And so she said, "Hey, you should sell some things here." And so I did that, and then after that, I had a lot of people coming to me like asking for more, and so it kind of like expanded to like a little business that I did throughout high school with like baking cakes and things like that. And so that was always like the goal. So I started on my junior year. I went into classes at Metro because I knew I wanted to go to college, like a 4-year university. And so I didn't know if I wanted to put that after or if I wanted to make sure I like got ahead of that. So I started it early, and then I just kind of like put it on a pause, and so it can be like fresh when I get back into it. Yeah.
What you mentioned, Grandma. What was your favorite of Grandma's recipes?
Oh, it's still an all-time favorite. Her collard greens. She still makes it like every once in a while on a Sunday. We'll have like Sunday dinners, and just the full spread of the beef roast and the mac and cheese, all unhealthy stuff, but it's it's good for the soul. That's why it's called soul foods.
And then good for a nap on a Sunday.
Right. Yep.
Wow. Well, it's a lunch and learn, so you're out there eating. I figured it's appropriate that we talk about food.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Let's go back to the student regent part. What are the job responsibilities now as a student president, student regent?
Yeah. So the president role is kind of separate from the student regent role. So the regent role is, engaging with the NU system at a more higher level. And so that's dealing with like Board of Regent policies. And so just adding a student perspective on the lower end of it, it's like changing the name of a college building or something like that, or changing the name of a course or something like that. And then there is 4 committees that you're involved in that each regent gets appointed to. And so as the UNO student regent, I'm on the academic affairs committee. And so we deal with like different courses, what's offered, and it's kind of like a broad scale of things that deal with academic affairs. On the student body president side, it's more so dealing with campus focused things, and so writing resolutions to support a change in policy that's affecting UNO's campus immediately. And then we have Senate meetings that the Student Senate meets and discusses and debates resolutions and things like that. And then we have the Executive Board that meets weekly to kind of just like do like the like micro things that are a part of student government. So we have like the PR, we have finance, and then we just instituted a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which will be overseeing just how to make campus more welcoming and inviting and inclusive for students. So
it's a busy group of students.
Yes.
But so do you feel, are you representing the students? Do they contact, I mean, based on your experience as vice president and what you saw Aya deal with, and even when you were as a freshman in the leadership council, do students really reach out to student leaders and say, will you help me with this? I mean, have you seen that in action?
Definitely. So literally, like whenever something happens, like I'll get so many emails or messages on Facebook. Mostly people that I've come into contact with, whether on campus or in classes. So that's why it's really, really cool to make sure that we're engaged with students and make sure that they know that, I'm not somewhere like high up or anything. Like I'm just a student, but I get to represent them in these conversations and things like that. And so with student organizations that we go to speak to or that we've been a part of, they'll reach out with things that they want to address. And, whatever campus makes an announcement, we'll always have someone like clarifying something. So yeah, we definitely get that engagement, especially since we're moved online and people feel a little bit disconnected from campus, so it's easier for them to just like reach out to us individually to kind of get more clarity on what's going on.
Probably your approach to social media campaigning will make you even more accessible.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find more accessibility during this, whatever school is going to look like in the fall when students aren't around as much. So that's great. It's great. You've opened the door for a lot of communication. I'm going to kind of take another question from somebody who is joining us, and I hope she's still there, but a former student regent, Jordan Cook. Jordan, thank you for joining us today. And she had a question specifically about diversity and inclusion. And her question is, how are you and the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion working to fight social justice at UNO? That's become a very, very big topic this summer, and I know you're passionate about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Spend some time talking about that.
Yeah, so we've developed a diversity, equity, and inclusion planning committee for reopening in the fall and planning for future progress in the year and years to come. So one of the things that we've initiated is kind of like a revamping of the diversity gen ed requirements, which is kind of still like underway, but we've written a request to kind of update them in order to make them more address specific topics that are affecting society today. And so there was already a process of revamping the student learning outcomes for each of the gen ed. For students are required one class in global diversity and one class in U.S. diversity. And so we have a committee of people who are reviewing the student learning outcomes of those courses and making sure that all of the classes that are within those are meeting those learning outcome requirements. And so that's a big thing that we've been working on, as well as we have developed a diversity and equity in inclusion committee within student government, so we can like keep that process going. And so we have 5 student agencies that are a part of student government, which have existed for a while now. But now we're creating this committee to bring them and their members in to be more connected within student government. So the committees would meet every week to just talk about how to make campus more equitable for students and making sure that we're always hearing their concerns. Because a lot of times things happen and students don't necessarily feel comfortable with going directly to administration about it, or they don't feel like it's like a big enough deal to bring up. And so we're trying to make it so that we're more accessible and so that they feel comfortable with speaking their mind about anything that might occur, so that we're bringing that to administration's attention, and so that it doesn't get bigger and beyond, what's manageable. So
that's a new committee, but not a new agency.
Yeah, it's a new committee.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it sure has. I think that's a really important topic to address this year, and it sounds like one that you're going to try and hit head on. What are some of your other goals for the upcoming year with your role as president and just student government in general?
Yeah, so one of the main goals that student government has always had is to be more transparent. Okay. And so last year we started the newsletter that we sent to students every month. So we're going to be keeping that going and sending students an update every single month about what we're doing and what we're planning to do, as well as being transparent with resolutions that we pass, and we'll be posting those on social media so that students can see what we're doing and see that we're active, because I know a lot of students think we just sit in a room and talk and debate, but we're actually doing work and we're trying to make change on campus. And so being more transparent about that, and then making sure that students are connected even though we're in a virtual format. Campus will look a lot different this year with the coronavirus and with the social distancing and things like that. And so one of our main goals will be to make sure that student organizations are connected and they feel supported. And we have some initiatives that we're working on in regards to that. Yeah, I don't know if I should share just yet, just in case. But
you got to keep us guessing.
Yeah,
we'll learn it as it comes out. I'm sure.
Definitely.
Well, the whole idea of what you just mentioned, what is this year going to look like, and it's going to be different. Take off your student government hat for a moment. What was it like as a student last spring, going to class, and then all of a sudden everything changed? Just walk us through your experience. What was that like?
It was definitely just like a big shock of like never imagined that we would be in this position, and never imagined it would go this far. Especially, with having to be in quarantine and, worried about going anywhere really, and just being stuck indoors, through all of that. It was a transition, but I feel like we managed it well. I feel like with a lot of students, we're used to the online format, and so it wasn't like that big of a shift. But it's really just the lack of personal interaction that's really affecting students, and so. It's definitely been a weird shift and definitely some unprecedented times that we're in. But it's reassuring to see how the campus is responding, and how we've been able to get through everything. Because I think it was a really smooth transition, going from in person to online. The professors really responded really well, and so I think it proved that we have the right people in these positions that are leading us.
That's great to hear.
Yeah,
it was interesting when Jabin and I got here today to get ready for this session. We both commented how great it is to be in the same room with with each other again, because when Jabin was, I guess, the inauguration occurred, that was all virtually done via Zoom.
Yeah.
And every other meeting we've been a part of has been via Zoom from a home office or somewhere off campus. So this is a great experience for us to be able to be in the same room and talk,
Right.
but you'll notice we're spread apart, and when the camera goes off, the masks go back on, and off we go. But it is an experience that we're all living through together. So I think we have time for one more question before we wrap up and folks finish up their lunches. And let's just end on I kind of want to hear from you what the students. UNO has really changed over the years, and a lot of our alumni got to experience some of that change. Some haven't. But what do you hear from students as you are campaigning and representing them? What makes UNO so special today? I mean, what is it about UNO that makes it the place to go?
I think a lot of students view, in comparison to all of the other campuses, UNO is very unique in how we're connected to the Omaha community. So we say like Omaha is our campus, and a lot of students are, I'm in the College of Business, and a lot of students love it here because of the access to different opportunities, internship opportunities, and ways to be engaged in the community. And sometimes it seems like Omaha is so small because you meet someone and they're connected to someone that you know, and it seems like everyone here is connected in some way. And so it's kind of like the community aspect of that. And also just the diversity that exists here at UNO. That is, UNO is one of the most diverse campuses in Nebraska. It's the most diverse campus. Yeah, and so that is really great for building good relationships that will last and that are meaningful. So, definitely the community aspect, and yeah.
Well, we're glad you decided to stay home after graduating from Omaha North and going from a Viking to a Maverick. You'll definitely always be a Viking, and you'll always be a Maverick for sure. We know that. So thank you, Jabin, for coming to campus and being part of this conversation. I just know that folks enjoyed hearing from you, and we're going to watch and see how much progress you make this year. No doubt you're going to make a lot.
Thank you. I look forward to working with alumni and continue this connection with you guys. So,
great.
Thank you.
Well, this session, along with the other sessions in our Lunch and Learn series, will be available on our YouTube page for viewing at a later time if you'd like to visit it again. And also, just a reminder that at times like this, many people ask how they can show their support We've included a link to the University of Nebraska Emergency Assistance Fund. The University of Nebraska Emergency Assistance Fund supports students and employees on all of our campuses who are facing sudden financial hardship due to the pandemic. Finally, the Alumni Association wants to stay connected with you. We recently launched a new pen pal program, and we have many virtual plans in the works, so please visit unoalumni.org to learn more. Again, Jabin, thank you for being with us, and thank all of you for joining us. Go Mavs.